pooping more does not mean you're losing fat. And that's where people get tricked all the time. They eat something high fiber, they go to the bathroom more, they step on the scale, they're down 2 pounds. And they think, wow, Coach Mo, I lost fat. Hello, hello. Welcome to Healthy Systems Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Mo. And today we're going to talk about the Trader Joe's viral gummy candy that just came out, I think, a week or two ago, and it's all over TikTok, Instagram. And the topic for today is that candy healthy or is it just pure marketing, right? So that's what I want to dive into today because it's an important topic because apparently Trader Joe's just dropped these sweet and sour gummy worms that are zero sugar, low calorie, naturally flavored, and high fiber. And on paper, that sounds amazing, right? Zero sugar candy, low calories, fiber, monk fruit, allulose. People are looking at this and like, bro, did Trader Joe's just crack the code? Sounds so awesome. But then people started eating them and suddenly the internet is full of reviews like, hey, these are basically laxatives. People are comparing it to medicinal style laxatives. People are like, hey, do not eat the whole bag. Some people are even saying, I was fighting for my life. And honestly, this is a perfect nutrition lesson. And that's what I want to dive into today. Because this episode is not really about gummy worms. It's about how easily people can get fooled by the marketing in the health and the fitness world. Because it's all about zero sugar, it's about fiber, it's about digestion. And a lot of the time, it ends up being one of the biggest myths in fat loss, right? The number one thing I want you to remember about any of this is pooping more, right? Just having your digestive system very active, just shoving a lot of fiber down it. What's going to happen is pooping more does not mean you're going to lose more fat. Right? And remember that there's more nuance to this than a lot of people think. Like I saw some girlies talk about like, yeah, like, oh my God, just poop out your fat. It's like, that's not how fat cells work at all. Your digestive system is very different. So at the end of the day, let's talk about topic number one in this, right? So zero sugar does not always mean healthy. So here's the first lesson. And this is something people need to understand, right? A food can be zero sugar and still mess with your stomach. Right? A food can be low calorie and still make you feel terrible. A food can be high fiber and still be a terrible idea to binge on. So your body does not care about the front of the package or whatever marketing package you just bought. Your body does not care that it says zero sugar. It does not care if it says naturally flavored. Your body responds to ingredients. It responds to dosages. It responds to digestion and tolerance. What I mean by that is, this is where people get tricked. They see one good thing on the label and they assume the entire product is healthy, which is often not the case, right? So when they say zero sugar, it's like, oh yeah, that must be healthy. When products say high protein, they're like, oh, that must be healthy. And the products say gluten-free, they're like, yeah, that must be really healthy. Or it used to be keto-friendly, snacks. It's like, oh, that must be healthy. Or now high fiber. It's like, that must be healthy. But the truth is, it's not the case. That is not how nutrition works. A lot of these products are not helping people build better habits. They're actually just helping people feel better about keeping the same habits. So if somebody's eating candies, right? And now Trader Joe's like, hey, eat this high fiber candy. All of a sudden, now we can justify eating candy, right? So you see how they mess with our head. So you're not really building your health. You're just looking for loopholes. And I'm saying that, like, I'm not anti-candy. I have candy here and there, right? I'm not an anti-Trader Joe's either. I'm not saying you can never eat those, but I'm saying stop letting snacking companies convince you that, hey, a modified candy is the same thing as a healthy system, right? When you don't have healthy systems in your life with exercise, nutrition, sleep, stress, all of these things, when you don't have these routines in place, you fall victim to this type of marketing all day, every day. And that in our lifetime is only going to increase, right? So that's the trap. Health is not built with these, candy snacks. Health is built because you have healthy systems, because you're doing the boring stuff that needs to be done. You're eating your protein, you're eating your vegetables, you're eating your fruits, water, walking, strength training, sleep, consistency. That's the actual game, right? When it comes to these gummies, a lot of people that are talking about it, they're saying is sending them to the bathroom because one serving is reportedly only about 8 pieces of these gummy worms. But these 8 pieces have about 14 grams of fiber. That's a lot of fiber for a tiny candy serving, right? Now, fiber is not bad. Fiber is actually one of the most important things most people do not get enough of in America. Fiber helps us, as you guys know, with digestion, with blood sugar control, with cholesterol, with gut health, and regular bowel movements. But the dose, how much fiber goes in, also matters a lot. So if someone barely eats vegetables, beans, oats, berries, or whole grains, and then suddenly eats that candy, that gives them a big dose of fiber in a few bites, their gut is going to be like, brother, what are we doing here? Sister, what did you just give me? Right? And that's when you get gassy. That's when you get bloating, cramping, urgency, and the famous emergency bathroom trip, right? Essentially. So it's like, I mean, think of it like training. A lot of you train because you listen to healthy systems. A lot of you, when you train legs, for example, right? So imagine we all know squatting is good, right? So then, but if you haven't trained legs in about 2 years and then you go and do 10 sets of Bulgarian split squats on day one, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to get humbled, right? You're going to get very, very sore. The delayed onset muscle soreness is you're going to wake up the next day and you're like, what did I just do? Your legs are going to be very, very sore. So you're going to get humbled. But does that mean squats are bad? No. It just means the dosage for your tolerance was too high, right? Because you went from eating barely 2 grams of fiber and now you're eating like most people are not going to eat one serving of this candy. They're going to go for 2 or 3 servings. So that means we're eating 28 grams to 42 grams of fiber. And that's why you're running to the bathroom. But you think you're pooping out fat and you're not. You just like literally like straining your body. And that's not also good. So just be careful. The dosage also matter because same thing with fiber, just like the squats example, fiber is good, but going from a low fiber to a concentrated candy fiber and just doing it at a high dosage is a very different conversation. And that's often not good. Another thing people often get confused is they think like when you eat vegetables, raw vegetables like spinach, broccoli, asparagus, the fiber from them is the same fiber as a candy, right? Two different things, right? And here's where I'll get a little bit more scientific. Not all fiber is the same. There are two main types of fibers that people should know about. There's the soluble fiber and then the insoluble fiber. The soluble fiber dissolves in water, right? And then you have, when you look at both of them, soluble fiber dissolves in water. It can form, like, think of like a gel-like substance in your gut, right? It can slow digestion. It helps with fullness. It supports blood sugar control and actually feeds your gut microbiome, right? You find soluble fiber in organic foods like oats, beans, lentils, apples, berries, chia seeds, flaxseed, psyllium, all of those things, they have soluble fiber. And then you have insoluble fiber, which is the opposite. Insoluble fiber does not dissolve the same way. What it does is that it adds bulk to your stool and helps move things through the digestive tract. So I know it's turning into a science lesson, but think of like soluble means the vegetables, the oats, the berries, the apples, chia seeds, those are all soluble. Insoluble, you find these in vegetables, some vegetables. You also find these in whole grains, fruit skins, nuts, seeds, leafy greens. Both types are good. So soluble or insoluble, they're both good. You actually want both. But these gummies are most likely using some kind of, added soluble fiber or prebiotic fiber. So what happens there is that's very different than getting fiber from whole foods. So when you get fiber from whole foods, the whole biochemistry is different. When this type of fiber is getting, obviously, like in America and in the West, even in the East now, in Asian countries, we're so used to having chemicals and eating candy and processed foods that it doesn't really matter. But generally, all of us know that if you eat fiber from healthy organic foods, it's better than, eating it from a candy. So very different conversation. Vegetables gives you like a mixed fiber package. They give you fiber, water, vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, chewing, fullness, low calorie density. Candy fiber is different. Candy fiber is usually added fiber. It's full of sweeteners. It's full of flavoring. It's full of hyper palatable snack format, which means like you eat one and you want the other one and you want the other one. You know how like when we're eating broccoli, you eat some and then you don't want to eat like 3 more bags of broccoli. It never really happens that way, right? When you eat an apple, it's rare that you want 5 more apples. But when you eat a donut, there's a very high tendency to want more donuts. When you eat candy, there's a very high tendency your body wants more of it because that's how they're very, very palatable. They're made in a factory so that your body craves it more, right? And that's the trap because now your calorie content is a lot higher. Your sugar content is higher too. And even if it says 0 sugar, it's full of artificial sweeteners, which is also going to disturb your stomach. So I'm just making a long argument that, hey, be careful with things like this, right? Because when these type of things go viral, the candies go viral, nobody's sitting there saying like, hey, let me carefully administer my 8-piece gummy worm dose. Everybody's like, yeah, you eat a few and then you eat a few more. And then suddenly half the bag is gone. And now your digestive system is like, just like literally not feeling very good. And it's false. Like you're just running to the bathroom all day. That's the problem. And then you have the sugar alcohols, right? So now that you know the fiber side, soluble and insoluble, they're both good. But fiber from vegetables and lentils and apples and berries, way better than fiber from these chemical based sources, right? So when you look at like sugar alcohols on the other side, that's the other part of this sweetener game where companies are doing like, oh, yeah, it's zero sugar. And then they just like, pack it up with artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners, okay, there could be an argument to be made that, hey, they're better because they don't raise your insulin like a regular sugar would, right? And these gummies, particularly, they're using, things like allulose or erythritol and monk fruit, right? I know Trader Joe's is big at that. They care about that stuff. They use a lot of monk fruit in their stuff, which is good, right? But some people tolerate those just fine. But for others, especially in large amounts to make a candy taste good, right? They're not worried about, like, they're going to add it so where it's tasty. Because part of it is for us to be blamed on, right? Where we like things that are sweeter. So at the end of the day, they want to sell us products that we were going to buy again and again. So when we look at this, that's where like the sugar-free candy gets a reputation. Because if you remember all the reviews, a lot of people are talking about that. Some people's stomachs were upset, but they're like, yeah, but I'm sacrificing to lose the fat. It's like, no, like just because your gut is more clear doesn't mean you're losing fat. It might just clean out the bloating, right? It might give you some benefits there, but it's not gonna be help you lose fat. You don't like fat cells are full of energy. You don't lose them by just pooping them out. It's not how that works, right? So that's where the last part of the podcast I want to talk about is like, hey, you did not lose fat. You just pooped, right? It's like the same thing as like the waist trainers. People like used to wear them around their stomach when they did those, high intensity workouts. And then by the end of the workout, they were just sweating a little bit. And they're like, yo, I lost fat in my stomach. It's like, nah, you just had some water weight that was there and you sweated it out a little bit. And that is not even noticeable on scale most of the time, right? So at the end of the day, pooping more does not mean you're losing fat. And that's where people get tricked all the time. They eat something high fiber, they go to the bathroom more, they step on the scale, they're down 2 pounds. And they think, wow, Coach Mo, I lost fat, right? No, my friend, you didn't really melt belly fat into the toilet. You clearly just only cleared out some content of food in your gut, right? You just lost stool weight, just lost water, maybe some bloating, maybe some undigested material. But that can make the scale drop temporarily. It can make your stomach look flatter temporarily. It can make you feel lighter temporarily, but that's not the same as fat loss, right? Fat loss comes from consistency and consistently eating in a caloric deficit and training well and having good foods in your diet, all of those things, and sleeping good and taking care of your cortisol and your stress levels. That's the main game, right? A bathroom emergency is not a transformation program. Shoving fiber down your stomach is not going to help you, right? Like a laxative effect is not a fat loss strategy, right? And that's why like detox teas 10 years ago, skinny coffees, cleanses, laxative products have fooled people for years. They make you poop, the scale drops temporarily, you think it worked, and then you eat and hydrate normally again, and the weight comes running back because it was never fat loss, right? It was just gut clearance, right? Your body was just clearing out its gut because you shoved such a high dosage of fiber, down the tract. So at the end of the day, I agree. Healthy digestion is important. It matters. Being regular, to the bathroom matters. Fiber matters, but do not confuse emptying your stomach with changing your body composition. Two different things, right? And a lot of the time, us as Americans, we got to get good at reading these labels in the supermarkets, right? Like reading a nutrition label, that's a skill that we're going to really need to learn because just because something says zero sugar, high protein, low carb, keto, natural, high fiber, we still got to know what questions to ask. We still got to be able to look at the servings. How many servings are in the bag? How much fiber in one serving? What sweeteners are being used? How much would I realistically eat? Does my body tolerate this? And is this actually helping me build better habits? Right? Those are all important questions to ask. So here's what to do instead. I'll just wrap this up real fast, right? Don't panic. You don't need to fear these foods, right? You want to try the gummies, cool, try them. But be an adult about it. Start with a serving size, maybe even half a serving if your stomach is sensitive. Right? Do not eat the whole bag before a road trip, for example, before a day of meetings, before a day of traveling, before your first date, before a busy exercise day, right? Like before a leg day, before a flight, before a wedding, before anything where you're going to be around people. That's not, bravery. That's actually called poor risk management. I don't want you to take unnecessary risks here. But second, I want you to get every single day, get most of your fiber from real foods, right? Eat vegetables with your lunch. Eat vegetables with your breakfast, right? Fruits, beans, lentils, oats, potatoes with skins, sweet potatoes, excellent source. They're also really good for your skin too, right? Whole grains, chia seeds, flax seeds, nuts, seeds. Increase fiber gradually, right? Like slowly start adding more fiber as opposed to you just like shoving 42 grams of fiber down your stomach or, 14 per serving. Your body's not going to like it. Your gut will not appreciate it. So build it up slowly, drink plenty of water, walk after meals, and pay attention to how your body responds. Because the goal is not to poop as much as possible. The goal is to build a body and lifestyle that actually is sustainable, that actually works, that you can stick with for the next 10 years, right? That's how it's been for me, right? I've stuck with my own fitness journey for 11 years now. And all of that because I built a lot of healthy systems around it, right? Gummy candies, detox teas, snake oils, all of these things come and go. Does not matter, right? The biggest lesson for you is simple. 0 calorie, 0 sugar does not mean healthy. High fiber does not mean healthy. Low calorie does not mean consequence free. And pooping more certainly does not make you lose fat. Fiber is good, but dose matters. The source matters. The context matters. Vegetables, fruits, beans, oats, whole fruits will beat candy with added fiber almost every single time. Not because candy is bad, but because health is not built through loopholes. Health is built through healthy systems. You're not going to just eat one candy. It's going to change your life. We need to build a routine around doing this consistently. So if you want help building real healthy systems around nutrition, training, steps, sleeps, accountability, all of that, DM me the word healthy, because we'll see if getting coaching is the right fit for you. And if you have goals that we could help with, because that is what we do at Training with the Titans. That's what my team specializes in full time. But overall, back to the candy, try it if you haven't already, but don't assume that it's going to help you lose weight. Even if the scale shows that you lost 2 pounds, that's just temporary water weight, right? This does not mean you're losing fat. So, listen to this episode again. We also have another episode I recorded. It's probably a little old, but that's the episode where I talk about the nutrition labels. So just go on Google or just message me the word nutrition labels and I'll send you that episode. But essentially, reading nutrition labels is going to be a very, very important skill in order to have a great health over the upcoming, decades to come for us. So overall, I hope this episode helps. Let me know what other topics you want me to cover. And obviously, you know where to find me at Mo Gaius or, both on Facebook and Instagram, MOEGHIAS. And if you want to just directly book a consultation with my team or money, just go to twtt.us. That's our website, twtt.us. And there should be a button to easily book a consultation and pick a time on my calendar. But I hope this helps, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for listening to the Healthy Systems podcast. I really appreciate you for tuning in today. Now, here are 2 ways I can help you for free. One, you can join our free Facebook community by just going to this link, bit.ly/Titan Facebook group. Just type that into your browser and then answer 2 questions, and then we'll let you into our Facebook community where you'll meet other people, as well as we have a lot of free resources in terms of meal plans, workouts, all kinds of stuff in there. Second way I can help you for free is if you follow me on Instagram at Mo Gaius, MOEG as in George, H as in horse, I as in India, A as in apple, S as in Sam. Follow me there and then shoot me a message with the word Healthy Systems, and then I'll be sure to send you a free gift. Other than that, keep listening in, and I really appreciate you.